Hello and good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ben, and we're going to work on the Solstice a little bit today. The goal for today is to get the car running, or at least figure out exactly what it's going to take to get running. So I do have the keys. The battery's been on the charger. So let's look at a few of the problems. Right out of the gate, what was happening when I tried to start it, I put the key in it with a jump box on it, and I had stereo came on, the dash lit up, I could see the mileage, it seemed to be working. When I tried to crank, nothing was happening. No click, nothing. So that kind of sucked, but honestly, with a project of this scale, you sort of have to expect it. So there's a few problem areas that are obvious that I want to check out, mainly being this wiring here, including a major ground, and there's probably at least 10 broken wires here. So we're going to fix all of those. We're going to put the battery in it, but I think the first thing we got to do is check the oil. As you can see, everything is pretty much the same shade of gray right now with all of this dust or silt over everything. And I have not been able to find the dipstick to save my life. Thankfully, I watched a YouTube video. I know where it is. And we're gonna take a look at that. So, tell me if I'm tripping. Is it obvious? Do you guys see the dipstick anywhere on this thing? Neither did I. It's in this area. Do you see it yet? Oh, there it is, down there. And of course, it is also gray. It sits in there really loosely. It might need to be replaced. Looks like it's got oil. Looks overly full at the moment. Doesn't look terrible in color. There's the hole. Not exactly intuitive, but I'm pretty sure this engine was designed for front wheel drive. So maybe it makes more sense in that application. Yeah, it's definitely got about a quart too much oil in there, it looks like. Yeah. So, if you didn't know, engines have oil in them, of course. But this dashed mark basically indicates the very top quart of oil. So if you're all the way at the bottom of this, that is just a quart low. And if you're all the way up here, you can assume that it's a quart high. Kind of weird, but not the end of the world. I don't necessarily see any. We still got some gold in here, so it doesn't look like bad oil. It doesn't feel bad. It doesn't smell like burnt or anything. And I don't really see any indications of flake. So that's a good sign, kinda. You know, now that I think about it, if there's a bad head gasket and water was able to mix with the oil, that could explain why the oil level is so high. Hopefully that's not the case. The oil is heavier than the water, so the water sits at the bottom. So when you take the drain plug off on an engine full of water, it will just pour water for a good minute, and then the oil will start coming out. I hope that's not the case with this. Now, the only reason I kind of might assume that there could be an issue with water mixing, not that the oil really looked like that, but I can tell the coolant reservoir is totally empty, and this line has popped off. It took me a minute to figure out where it went, but it looks like it goes right on here. And I'm going to need I'm gonna need a pair of pliers to get that back on. But while we're getting pliers, we can grab some electrical supplies to start working on these wires. And at that point, hopefully it'll start up. So let's go get some stuff. So looking at these wires, I was really torn on how I wanted to go about fixing it, because this is such a large bundle of wires and so many repairs need to be made. Sometimes solder is a better way to go because you get a cleaner, tighter finish. The thing about solder is it can be a little hard to work with and it makes everything stiff and really brittle. It's not necessarily the best choice in an automotive application. I try to avoid it whenever possible. I think what we're going to use here today is butt connectors, but not all butt connectors are created equally. What I have here are these really awesome butt connectors. I don't necessarily know what they're called. They have a shrink wrap on them already, a really good quality shrink wrap. They bite really well, and when you heat them up, a glue or resin inside of them actually comes out and it gives you a really strong, corrosion resistant, permanent repair. Really recommend using high quality butt connectors when doing work like this. They don't cost a lot more in the grand scheme of things, and they hold up. It's as good as a factory repair. It is the factory repair. So we're gonna go through as many of these as we can real quick. So let's do one of these up close so you can see exactly what I'm doing. This is pretty obviously associated together. These are some crimpers I got off the tool truck. They crimp and they strip, and they're about as reliable as it gets. So now we have two ends of exposed wire we're going to join. It just slips on over and then you smash. Give it a tug, make sure it feels tight, and we'll come back in, slip the other end in. It's in there good. Crimped. Give it a tug, make sure both sides are good. Okay, now to activate this heat shrink and glue. Perfect world, you'd use a heat gun. I'm pretty far from the shop out here in the field, so I'm just gonna use a lighter. You can already see it shrinking up. There's a bit of discoloration, and you can see that glue sort of starting to ooze out. And there, that's one done. A whole bunch to go. That main ground was definitely probably an issue. I think I'm gonna put some water in the cooling system so there's something in there, and drop the battery in and make another attempt, see what happens. Alright, so I'm gonna bring a jump box into the equation just to increase my chances of this working. So, should have plenty of juice. I put some water in the reservoir. It only took about half a gallon, so that's a good sign. It wasn't that thirsty. And let's see what happens. Oh, big guy in a little car. Sucker is tiny though. But I am actually a sucker for tiny cars. Keys in, everything powers up. Strikes me as a good sign. Let's turn the air off. We're neutral, the brake's up. So, clutch is depressed. Ah! Oh, and it idles. Woo! It runs. Not gonna lie, I didn't think that was gonna work. Okay, so we now have a running project car. That is a huge, huge step in the right direction. And it sounds good. but it's only got 73,000 miles on it, so it should. We got vacuum leaks, we got all sorts of stuff. That's just hanging out. Really not a surprise that it's got a stumble. Oh, dude. Let's take the jump box off. Let's take everything off and see if we can make it drive. I am driving my Copart car right now. All right, it's got a bit of pep. This thing's not exactly a slouch. It's definitely got a pull. There's reverse. Can't see out of this thing. Let's see if AC works, shall we? Hit the dumpster. Let's pull into the shop real quick. You know what? It needs gas. Oh yeah, it needs gas bad. It's on EE. Although I bet there is a dyno session in the near future where we see how much power this little torquey thing makes. I did not think that was gonna work. Let's pull it around front base. Okay, let's not trench the field too much. We'll get in trouble. Awesome. Okay, we are totally out of fuel. I bet that's why it runs how it does. I hate how this door locks itself. So we got ABS light, a fuel light, a brake light, an airbag light, and that is it. Clutch felt good. Brakes suck, but I fully expected that given, well, the fact that they're rusty. Let's see if the AC works, shall we? Light's staying on and it's blowing. That is a good sign. It's not cold yet. Ooh, I gotta get some gas for this thing. I kind of expected it to be colder by now. Let's take a look at the compressor. Oh, my little car drove. Yeah. Clutch is engaged. I'd like to do a full heat cycle if I can. Still water in there. The fan's kicked on. What is temperature? I don't know how to do anything on this. There's mileage. It does not have a temperature gauge, like, at all. Trip, fuel range low, econ, average speed 1 mile per hour, 64% oil life, coolant 167 degrees. Let's try to get this up to like 180. It seems to be about when aluminum engines on GM products are up to temp. So let's see if we can run. Oh yeah, AC works. It's getting cold now. This whole freaking car works. This thing needs a hood and a front bumper, and it's ready to party, I think. Woo! It's all stock. A little bit more wiring to do, but I think I'm gonna wait on that till I can look at some diagrams, because I'm not exactly sure what it all means. There's a lot of wires that are the exact same color, and I went in there pretty quickly, and I'm starting to realize, oh, maybe some of those wires don't go there. But it doesn't matter, it doesn't even have headlights, so they're not gonna run anyway. We got a runner. So, the Copart auction said this car didn't run. It listed no miles, because basically the battery was totally dead and the hood was completely seized on. It was actually a pain to get it off. So I think I got the car cheaper than I normally would have. I looked at it, I made a really strong assessment of what I thought it was going to realistically need, and I didn't think I was going to have engine problems. I thought maybe a radiator and AC condenser, but obviously I was wrong there. This seems to be exactly what I thought it was going to be, plus a little bit of wiring. It's all localized and pretty simple. I think this is going to be, dare I say it, an easy project. Okay, so on that note, let's close this video down. Thank you for joining me again. I'm Ben. This is my channel. If you've liked what you've seen, if you're excited about it, give me a like. Definitely subscribe. I'm going to post more content. And let's keep on having wins. See you later.